Welcome back to the Ross Bolin podcast presented by Bolin Media.
Please clap.
I am Ross Bolin, and today I am rocking the studio solo dolo, so prepare your beautiful mind for a riveting show, including my review of the much maligned Tesla Cybertruck, an update about my ridiculous neighborhood HOA, and the tale of my first trip to Dave & Buster's in many years. By the way, just up top, my computer screen is filthy. It's kind of, I'm staring at it right now and it's making me uneasy. It's so gross. I'm a pretty clean guy. Not to like an OCD level, but I'm not like I don't know if you could define me as a neat freak. But suffice it to say, there's been a massive adjustment period having a toddler and a 5-year-old and 4 dogs, because I am a pretty clean guy. That being said, my computer screen constantly looks like some disgusting animal who never washes his hands and is just constantly eating greasy food, is rubbing his filthiness all over it every day. And I don't know how to explain that. It's a MacBook Air. Does everybody have this problem with laptops, or is it just me? I've got wipes. I've got wet wipes, for electronics that I use on it, and a little one of those little, what are they called, dry cloth situation. Anyway, I clean it like at least a couple times a month, but it's still constantly disgusting, and I don't know what to make of that. All right, let's get to the part of the show that's actually planned. First off, my wife gifted me a massage for Christmas last year, so Christmas of 2023, and I finally used it. Went and got my first massage of 2024 on Sunday. I was bitching about my back on the show last week, and that motivated me to go and get this massage. I did it. I made an appointment. I went in. I didn't pick my masseuse because I don't know the masseuses. Is that the plural of masseuse? I don't know them, because I'm never there, clearly. So I just did the random, they just assigned me one. And I got a big girl. Big ol', probably like 6 foot tall woman, could play linebacker in the NFL. And this is not a dig on her. It is just a fact. She was large. And she absolutely destroyed me. This ogre of a woman. I mean, she wrecked my shit. I forgot. Like, I had never gotten a massage in my entire life until I met my now wife, and she was like, "What's wrong with you? These are great. They help you relax. They get toxins out of your body. You feel free and loose." But I had forgotten that the first one you get, or the first one you get in many months, is actually kind of a hellish experience. Like, this shit was... It was tough. Like, it was a real beating. I was sore for 3 days. Today is like the first day I've actually felt completely back to normal, and I got back to working out, got in the gym this morning. But yeah, like the rest of that day, I felt like I was sick. And then the next day, I was incredibly sore, and then it's gotten less and less painful day by day. But my God, this shit was like being at the chiropractor, which I've never done, but I've seen the videos on social media. Like, things were popping and snapping in my shoulders and my back like crazy. You know how they do that? They get in there real nice and deep and you feel like one of your muscles like click, like it just and it hurts. It sucks. But also, I'm just trying to breathe through it. And I feel like between yoga and meditation and therapy, I have a pretty good idea of how you're supposed to handle a massage as the patient, the one being massaged. And you got to breathe. You got to keep your breathing steady, right? You got to relax your body as much as possible. You don't want to be tense. You want them to have as much to work with as they can get. And then you breathe through it. So I'm just trying to breathe through it the whole time. But this woman is fucking pounding my shit, dude. Just wrecking my fucking whole body. And again, it was fantastic. She did a phenomenal job. I left a great tip. And I scheduled another appointment for 2 weeks from that day. So I guess, like a week and a half from now or whatever. But it just disturbing noises were coming from my body, and she really, she had the weight to put into it, and she did fully. Then when she got to my neck, like toward the end of the massage, was one of the last things she did, right? I told her like to focus on, I carry a lot of stress in my shoulders and my lower back's been bothering me, the left, like lower left hip area. And so she focused on all that. And then when she got to the end, it was like my neck. And I could feel her judging me for how stiff my neck was, or probably still is, frankly, because I don't know how much she actually accomplished there. It was like, I don't know how much she could do. It is what it is. My neck is fucked. And she was like, yeah, you need to stop like craning your neck when you're staring at your computer screen or your phone. And I was just like, come on, that's not a thing that's going to happen. But all in all, great experience. Glad I went back. When the session ended, I was like, hey, because they leave the room, they're like, take a few minutes, like get your clothes back on. I did find it strange that they always, whenever you go in there, and I've been to several different places, so it's not like this was just individual to this particular massage establishment, they say like, disrobe to your comfort, which I've always been like, all right, I get down to my boxers, right? Are people going in there and just getting naked? Just getting ass out? Because I just don't see why you would. You don't need to be ass out. This isn't a jerk off parlor, or at least I don't think it was. I didn't ask. And they didn't tell. But if you're a regular massage person, when they say disrobe to your comfort level, what is your comfort level? Because I'm just doing boxers feels like the obvious choice as a man. Are women getting nude? Is there nakedness happening in there? That's my question. If you have the answer, please. If you're watching on YouTube, for example, leave it in the comments. Or on Spotify. They have comments now on Spotify if you're listening on Spotify. Apple Podcasts, I don't know what the fuck they're doing, but I was just wondering. Anyway, she leaves the room. She's like, take a few minutes. I laid there for a second just like trying to regain feeling in my toes. And then I got dressed. I walked out and I was like, when should I come back? And she was like, you? Probably as soon as you feel recovered from this one. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to come back like next week. These aren't cheap. But I scheduled an appointment for a couple weeks down the road to try to get my shit right for the end of the year. The holiday season is approaching. It's a stressful time of year. Closing out the year as a small business owner, it's always kind of a nightmare. And so I'm going back. I'm going to try to keep this routine. This is a thing I've got a good routine in life right now. I go to bed on time like a responsible adult. I work out several times a week with my Fitbod app in my garage gym. This morning I worked out and I watched Gladiator while I worked out. Fucking full blast volume, garage door open, scaring the shit out of all my neighbors walking their dogs. I've got a good routine, good communication in my home between me and my kids and me and my wife and my wife and my kids and all. We're doing good, but I need more, and massages are I need them to be a thing because I'm not a spring chicken like I once was. I'm an old, decrepit chicken, slowly drifting towards or past middle age. So I'm going to try to keep this in my routine. My back does feel a little bit better now since the massage. I think it worked. I've been holding my son on only the left side of my body for the almost 2 full years of his life. And the heavier he's gotten, I don't have the hips of a supple woman. I have skinny boy hips, and there's nothing there for him to like fucking monkey onto. So it's just me I like cock my hip over to the left, and it's fucked my whole shit up. So yeah, I got a massage and it went well, and I thank you for coming to my TED Talk. In other news, probably more exciting news, frankly, whether you are a massive hater of Tesla / Elon Musk or a massive fanboy of Tesla / Elon Musk, this should interest you. There's only two. You have to be one or the other. You can't be in the middle. There's nobody in the middle. There's nobody in the middle. If you're in the middle, you're doing something horribly wrong. Pick a fucking side. Pick a fucking side. I went to the Tesla service center yesterday to get my tires rotated and some other petty shit. And they were like, do you want to drive a Cybertruck for 30 minutes while you wait? Okay? Now, everybody knows the Tesla Cybertruck. Everybody's seen one at this point on the road because how could you miss it? It looks like nothing else you've ever seen in real life. It looks like something out of the Halo video game or some sci-fi movie. And Everybody's seen one of these. For the record, I drive a Model 3. I got it in 2021. I've loved it. I got it in 2021, pre-Elon Musk being the controversial figure that he is today in, I guess not just America, in the world. So I need that to be part of the conversation here. I didn't know this was going to happen. I didn't know Elon was going to become what he is now, and I didn't know he was going to buy Twitter. I didn't know any of this shit was coming, all right? I just wanted a car, all right? And I love my car. Nothing can take that from me. It's the same situation we've got with the Yeezys. I love my shoes, and Kanye West cannot ruin those shoes for me in the same way that Elon Musk cannot ruin my car for me. He's already the richest man in the world. My one car isn't changing anything. Get off my fucking back. So they were like, do you want to drive a Cybertruck for 30 minutes while you wait? Now, obviously, my first impression was, holy shit. Every single person that comes in here to get their car serviced, these fuckers are trying to get them to test drive a Cybertruck because they got to sell as many Cybertrucks as they possibly can, because I think like some crazy 90+% of the pre-orders that they had canceled, and they've had like 5 recalls already, and it's been a pretty disastrous rollout. And you know, it's probably the most polarizing vehicle on the road, maybe ever on any road, ever, including like the first guy who had a fucking combustion engine vehicle back when cars were first invented, and he drove through town and everybody else on horseback was like, look at this asshole. This is probably more divisive than that, the Cybertruck. But I was like, yes, I had absolutely zero reason to say no. It's going to be at least 30 minutes for them to do my car. I guess I could have gotten some work done, but frankly, you get offered a stakes-free drive in one of these freak show cars, you got to take it. So I took it. So the lady walks me out to one of these silver monstrosities, and she walks me through the differences between my Model 3 and this futuristic toaster on wheels. And there were a lot of them. Like, first of all, the steering wheel is not your traditional motorized vehicle steering wheel. It's not a circle. It's like a video game or race car steering wheel. Not a circle, completely different steering wheel. If you want to see what it looks like, I guess Google Cybertruck steering wheel. In conjunction with that, the Cybertruck is the first vehicle on United States roads to go fully steer-by-wire. So there's no mechanical linkage between the front wheels and the steering wheel. This is all done by wire with this fucking weird, like, video game steering wheel. The blinkers in my car are just like the blinkers in everybody else's car. We've got a little fucking, thing over there on the left side off the steering wheel, and you hit it and it blinks one way, or you hit it down and it blinks the other way, right? The blinkers in this thing are on the steering wheel, which is a weird thing to get used to. And the gear shift, similarly, is not like I don't know what you call that thing that you pull on the side off the steering wheel. It's not that. It's on the iPad screen. It's not an iPad, but the big Tesla screen in the Cybertruck. You swipe up to drive, you swipe down to go into reverse, and you hit in the middle for park. And so that was a little bit weird, but she walks me through that, and she's like, have fun. Make sure and take it on the highway so you can see just how fast this thing goes. And I was like, that felt a little like encouraging me to break the law. And frankly, lady, I don't need a highway to do that. So I peel the fuck out of the parking lot, and on my way out, I'm pulling out. And this dude, another dude, driving a Cybertruck, is pulling in. Clearly on a test drive like I'm about to go on, with the biggest, dumbest smile on his face, like a kid in a candy shop, like he just had the time of his life. And it hit me. I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna like this, aren't I? He almost did like the Jack Nicholson in Anger Management, like nodding his head at me, like, yes, enjoy. And I was just like, oh no, am I gonna love this? Fuck. So I'm cruising around, and immediately one of the first things I noticed is the stairs. Every freaking car you pass, the driver does a double take. Because again, it's the most obnoxious thing on the road. Like, you're getting the same amount of looks, if not more, than like a fucking purple Lamborghini. Because it's just so ridiculous looking. So every single person you pass, every pedestrian on the road stares you down with like a mix of what I could only describe as wonder and disgust. Like, it's a combination of like, well, look at that thing, and also fuck that guy. And the attention you get driving one of these Cybertrucks, it's definitely intoxicating. Like, I can certainly see how this would be appealing to a demented narcissist, which is probably a lot of the people driving these things around, if we're being real. I'm not saying everybody, but probably, I mean, it's addictive. Everyone on the road is all eyes on you. People running on jogs or whatever, walking their dogs, mailmen, pedestrian, everybody is staring at you. It's like the Truman Show, but on wheels. So I have no idea, by the way, which version of the Cybertruck I was driving, but it was fast as shit. My car's got some get up to it, the Model 3. It was one of the things when I went and test drove it before I bought it, I was like, holy shit, like this thing can really move. The Cybertruck is significantly faster and can go to a much higher maximum miles per hour and like hits 0 to 60 faster. And I was not obeying the law. It wasn't even mine. There's no need to be, I was like, what if I get pulled over? Can't I just be like, officer, that's my bad. This isn't even, they forced me to test drive it basically. And like, I don't know what the fuck the pedals are. I don't even know what's happening in here. The gear shifting is on a screen. Like, I'm pretty sure I would just get off with a warning. So I was moving, and I did not go on the highway because if you listen to the show and you know me at all, you know I don't love the highway. So I was never going to do that. I just treat the regular roads like they're a highway. And it's a big old boy. Like, it's a fucking, like, my car is little. It's little bitty. And staying in lanes is really, really easy because I don't occupy the entire lane. This thing is a gigantic toaster box, and it's not, I was kind of worried about hitting some shit, but then again, it's like indestructible, so who the fuck knows? Didn't quite give me the same testosterone boost that driving my neighbor's F-350 a few blocks gave me a few weeks back. Because there's no roar of a combustion engine to get your juices flowing, obviously. So it's not quite the same as like a full-blown combustion engine monster truck, but that is offset by like the futuristic insanity that this thing is. It's on once you're inside of it and you can't see how stupid you look from the outside, it's not bad. It's not bad. I'll save my full thoughts on like how I felt about it for the end though. So I drove it to Bolin Media because that's only like 10 minutes from where I was to show producer Kade and Dan the ad salesman because I was like, I got to show this to somebody. It's like my house is too far away. I don't even think my wife was there. I have to share this moment with somebody. I had no idea I was going to be doing this today, and it was fun. So they both laughed at it, and I think that's the most normal response to the Cybertruck, laughter and mocking, because it's just like, why? Why? But why? But why? And I don't have an answer to that, but look, the thing kind of reminds me of when, I hate that I've brought this up twice on the show already, but it kind of reminds me of when Kanye West, when Kanye first came out with Yeezys, and everyone was like, those are the ugliest fucking shoes I've ever seen. I even remember myself being like, you look like a stupid elf. Was like the Yeezy 350 or whatever at that point, I think it was. Not the F350, not to be confused with the Ford truck. But, eventually Adidas sold billions of dollars worth or whatever of Yeezys before Kanye started showing his employees pornography during meetings and praising Hitler on the now owned by The Onion Alex Jones show known as InfoWars. And I have like 30 pairs. So this is what that reminds me of because yes, it's highly mockable. You're a laughingstock. Everyone is staring at you. It's kind of embarrassing, but it's super fun and really kind of low-key cool and comfortable. And like I said, when you're on the inside, you don't have to see the outside, so you don't know how ugly the thing is. You don't care. And people always say this about cars. They're like, oh, that one's not that good looking. I'm like, who the fuck? You're not dating it. You're inside when you use it. You can't see the outside of the car from the inside of the car. There's no need for you to, I get wanting to look fly or whatever, but like, I don't particularly care that much about that. That's not really what I'm in for. When I'm shopping for a car, I'm not like, I want to look cool. Who the fuck cares what anybody else? You're never going to see any of these people again. You're just driving past them. They don't know you. I'm not in sales. Nobody's seeing me pull up to the coffee shop in this thing and going, oh, this fucking douchebag. So inside, it was cool. It felt futuristic. I felt like I was in a movie. And there's a lot more space than there is in my little car. You have to hand it to Tesla for breaking the mold of traditional automotive manufacturing and design. At the very least, if nothing else, you have to give them that. This was an insane risk, and I kind of can appreciate that. As an artist, as a podcaster, we need more of that. Make something that doesn't look like anything else. Make something that doesn't sound like anything else. Make something that's not like everything else that already exists. And that's tough to do in 2024. It's tough to do. We've done a lot of the stuff. Technology took massive leaps and bounds over the past 40 years to the point that we've kind of hit a ceiling where we're like, I don't know, maybe we should just do AI and end all of this. So that's where we're at. So I can appreciate that they made something that doesn't look like anything else or feel like anything else or drive like anything else. One of the things the lady warned me about when I got in, she was like, to turn left, you're turning your circular wheel 3 or 4 times to take a straight 90-degree angle left. This thing, it's just ever so slightly you turn it because of the steer by wire situation or whatever. It has one giant, humorously long windshield wiper. So traditional cars, you got 2 wipers. The left one takes care of the left side of the windshield. The right one takes care of the right side of the windshield, like so, This is just one giant wee-oo, wee-oo, wee-oo. And it's fucking, I don't know how, 3.5, 4 feet long? Something like that. Just one giant windshield wiper that I couldn't figure out how to operate, even though she did show me that. And then I couldn't get it to do it for producer Kade and Dan the ad salesman, which made me sad because it was very funny to see it go, wah, yeah. Conclusion. If someone gave me a Cybertruck, if somebody knocked on the door and was like, hey, sir, you won a sweepstakes. Congratulations, you've won a Tesla Cybertruck. I wouldn't say no. I would take it. I can't lie to you. I can't. I'm like, was that George Washington? Didn't lie about the cherry tree he chopped down, right? I'm like him. Or is that Honest Abe? Was that Abe Lincoln? I'm like both of them. George Washington and Abe Lincoln. I can't lie to you. I would take it. Somebody at my kid's school has one of these things, and I see it when I pick up and drop off, and me and the other parents, we point and we laugh, and we make fun of this person. And even that considered, I wouldn't say no. I would take it. If it was given to me, I would take it because there's a shitload more storage room than in my car. And I have 2 car seats in my little Model 3. I'm 6'2". I'm getting bigger by the day. Everybody knows that because I'm crushing creatine with nicotine and doing FitBod workouts constantly. I'm getting larger. There's more mass, getting huge. And I just don't fit. I need more room. I've got 4 dogs. What if I have to take all 4 of them to the vet at the same time? That's literally not possible. One of them weighs 90 pounds. I could fit more in this thing. And on top of that, the bed of the truck is much more like a traditional truck bed than I realized because you never see them driving around with the cover off. It's a mechanical cover. You press a button and it fucking uncovers your truck bed. It's like a full-size truck bed. It's pretty large, like a standard-size truck bed. Not full-size. I don't know what that means, but standard. You could throw sports stuff back there. That's one of the things as a dad that I've always dreamed of doing my entire life. When I became a father, I thought, one day I'll take my kids to soccer practice or baseball practice or both, and we'll just throw all the shit in the back of the truck. That's the best thing about having a truck. My dad always had trucks when I was growing up, and it was nice to you just throw, fucking baseball bag goes back there, bucket full of balls, couple of gloves, catcher's gear. You can fit it all in the back of the truck, If you got too much recycling and it doesn't fit in your recycling bin and you need to put it all, it's big stuff, huge boxes, broom length boxes. You throw them in the back of the truck, you drive them over to the apartment complex next door, you dump them in the recycling bin. I can't do that with my little Model 3. I'm restricted by my vehicle. And that would not be the case in the Cybertruck. I'm just saying, and also, full disclosure, several months ago, I think it was actually last year, beginning of 2023, I was at the basketball court and neighborhood pool area of my neighborhood, which we'll talk more about later today, the neighborhood situation. Anyway, I was leaving, playing basketball out there on the full-length court, outdoor court, and I had a giant water bottle. It's actually this one that I have with me here if you're watching on YouTube. You know, my wife gave me this thing. It's not one of those, whatever that brand is that all the women have. It's an Owala. Owala, not a sponsor. No code, no discount. But it was full, and I set it on top of my car, and I drove away. And as I was driving away, it, of course, crashed down. But what I didn't notice until days later was that when it fell, it put a crack in my car, in the glass, which if you know anything about the Teslas other than the Cybertruck, it's like a fully glass roof, right? Well, that crack that I created that day over a year ago has spiraled both down all the way to the back. So there's a huge crack, and I'm just like waiting to be driving down the road one day and the entire roof of my car to fly off. So I kind of need to do something about that, and I think it would be thousands. In fact, I know it would be thousands of dollars to replace. So I'm at the point where I'm like, I've been driving this thing for 3 years. I'm still under warranty, but like barely. It's about to expire. The crack in the roof, now that I'm saying this out loud, maybe the warranty covers that, and there's something I can do about that. I should probably check after the episode ends. But the point is, it might be time to trade this in and get something bigger, considering the 2 kids, considering we haven't decided if we want more, considering the 4 dogs, considering how much room the car seats take up in the Model 3. Like, I can't even drive like Dan and Kade to lunch. We have to take Dan's car because it's too crunched. And so, look, before anybody gets freaked out and unsubscribes, obviously, I can't do the Cybertruck. I can't do it, though. I can't do it. Even if I had the time of my life driving it, which I did. I can't do it. You can't have a podcast and a Cybertruck. You certainly can't have 3 podcasts and a Cybertruck, which is my personal situation. I'm already maxed out on white douchiness. I am probably over the line. The bar keeps getting raised year by year, and I keep sliding in like just enough under it to not have to like go into the wild. But I'm too close. It's too close, and this would severely push me over the limit, and I can't do that. I'm aware of that. I'm aware. If you're wondering, like, does he have no self-awareness? I have too much self-awareness, more than the common man by a long shot. I know I can't do this, but I'm telling you I want to. And actually, when I took a picture of it in the Bolin Media driveway when it was at the house, when I was showing Kade and Dan, just so I could tweet it out and pretend I had bought a Cybertruck and see how people would react. And there was so much anger in the comments and the replies, and so many people like, dude, no, please tell me this is a joke, or you're trolling, or dude, like, fuck you, or like unfollowed. And it kind of made me want to do it. Like, I had to reply to my own tweet. I was like, guys, it was a loner. Please, like, don't make me buy one of these out of spite. And it made me want it more. The level of hate I received, I was like, because I'm that kind of person. You tell me not to do something, or I can't do something, and it makes me want to do it. I have a problem with authority. And so I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say I don't want to, because I do want to. But I know I can't, so I won't. And that's that. But that's, all in all, the experience was a hell of a lot better than I thought it would be. It was really, really fun. And it might only be really, really fun for a few days. Like, that novelty and all the attention and the staring and the middle fingers and the yelling and the fuck yous and that feeling probably fades, my guess, after a few days. Maybe not. Maybe it takes a little longer, because I still stare at the things every time they pass me in Austin. There's too many of them here in Austin already. And then you're just in a giant silver future toaster tank. And I don't know, but like, I know my son would love it. See, I'm trying to talk myself into it. I have to stop. It was okay. It was solid. If you thought this was the biggest piece of shit ever made, you were wrong. That's what I'm here to tell you. Like I said, on the inside, you can't see the outside. You can't see the outside. It's like a beautiful person that you meet, and it's the inverse of this, but it's like a beautiful person that you meet, and you're like, wow, look at them. But on the inside, they're dog shit. It's just like that, except the outside is dog shit. And the inside's kind of beautiful. Okay, I'm moving on. Today's episode is brought to you by Shopify, Batman and Robin, Peanut Butter and Jelly, Ross and Kade. So what about the perfect duo when it comes to growing your business? That's you and Shopify. Nobody does selling better than Shopify, home of the #1 checkout on the planet and the not-so-secret secret with Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales going through. Selling RBP merch for our podcast allows us to provide our fans and listeners with shirts and hats and coffee mugs and for some reason a puzzle that they can wear and use in real life to show their support for us, and Shopify can be the platform that enables you to connect with your supporters in the same way. I've used Shopify pretty extensively. It's very easy, very straightforward, pretty amazing. Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business, from the launch your online shop stage to the first real-life store stage, all the way to the did we just hit 1 million orders stage. Shopify is there to help you grow, whether you're selling merchandise for your podcast or homemade Christmas decorations. Shopify simplifies selling online and in person so you can focus on successfully growing your business. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling, on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. That's what Shopify does. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout used by Allbirds, Rothy's, Brooklinen, and millions of other entrepreneurs of every size across 175 countries. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/RBP, all lowercase, shopify.com/RBP to upgrade your selling today. That is shopify.com/RBP. You can see the link in the description of this episode, no matter what platform you are on. And I should note, Shopify been a big supporter of Bolin Media Podcasts in 2024 and just booked some sponsorships for 2025. And we are very thankful for Shopify's support, So make sure you go to shopify.com/RBP today. So on Saturday night of this past weekend, I got to go on a date night with my wife. And rather than do what we normally do with our date nights, where we go out to a restaurant, we have a nice dinner, and then we get full and go home and pass out because we're tired. We wanted to do something a little different, spice things up a bit. And so we were like, what do we do? Like putt-putt? We want to go like bowling, do some mildly athletic activity. But then my wife brought up Dave & Buster's. And everybody who listens to the show knows I'm a huge fan of Dave & Buster's. I grew up going with my grandma my whole life, not even just as a little kid. Like once or twice a year, my grandma would pick me up or me and my brother up, and we would go to Dave & Buster's when it opened. So we were the first people into the D&B at 11 a.m., and she would give us each $100 worth of tokens, which is a shitload and was a lot more in the early 90s before inflation. And we had the time of our lives. I love it there. Love it there. And I haven't been in years, and my grandma passed away earlier this year. So it was when my wife mentioned Dave & Buster's, I jumped at the opportunity. I was like, yes, let's do it. And there's a new one that just opened pretty close to our house, which I didn't even know. And now I'm very excited about that. So we ended up agreeing to go to Dave & Buster's for our date night, which is just sort of funny because I'm a 37-year-old man. My wife is my age, and we went to Dave & Buster's on a date. Anyway, we show up to this place, and like I said, it's pretty brand new. And this is it's a very remodeled version of Dave & Buster's. If I'm not mistaken, I think they went through bankruptcy in 2020 during the pandemic stuff, and they have a revitalized business plan. And this Dave & Buster's I went to, I'm confident, I could be wrong, but I'm confident this is the new version, that they are updating their old locations to look like this one and function more like this one. Because it was way more like a sports bar than the dark, musty, cigarette smoke-filled Dave & Buster's I grew up going to. It had 3 massive screens, movie theater-sized screens with sporting events on them, tons of TVs, a packed house on this Saturday night for UFC and college football, which I did not anticipate, but it was fine. We only had to wait 30 minutes for a table, and while we were waiting, we went and did all the arcade games, right? So the setup was a lot different when I was a kid. When you walked into the one when I was a kid, first, like I said, we went at 11 a.m., so there's nobody else there. But to get to the arcade, you would walk past all the adult shit, like the full-blown, almost like Cheers-style bar, dark, like depressing, kind of just obviously for like pure alcoholics. You cannot just be some casual drinker at this bar. You need to be hardcore. The billiards and the shuffleboard room was across from that, and it was all very dark at 11 a.m. All the lights were off, right? But you could still smell, like even as a child, I remember being like 12 years old and walking past that and just like feeling the degenerate vibes. They don't have that at the new D&B, sadly. You know, as I've said for years on this show, the D&B I grew up going to was basically a casino for kids. Like, it was training kids to be degenerate gamblers when they grow up and love casinos. Like, the flashing lights, the sounds of the games, the types of games that they had, all of it was geared toward gambling. Not all of it, but a lot of it. They still had Time Crisis and Skee Ball and shit and Pop a Shot. But, like, there were a lot of games that were as close as you could possibly get to a casino game without being illegal. And obviously there's a ticket exchange instead of like just straight currency, so there was a loophole there. But they got rid of most of those games. Most of the games I liked playing, there was this one specific tic-tac-toe game I remember where you like press this button and these balls pop up and they land in the different tic-tac-toe slots, and you have to pick which balls you want to keep where, and then hit the button again and the balls pop again. And if you get 3 in a row tic-tac-toe, depending on which direction or whatever, and if you hit any of the like power-ups, you get tickets. That shit was gone. There's no cigarette ashtrays on any of the tables anymore, which is obviously illegal. You can't smoke indoors at most establishments anymore, at least in the United States. That bummed me out because I remember being a really angsty 17-year-old at a Dave & Buster's with my grandmother and just ripping heaters at one of these. This is when I was in a dark place as a teen, all right? I'm not this man. I'm not that little boy anymore. But the point is, there was a vibe there that has been lost. The degeneracy, probably for the sake of the business continuing to exist, has sort of been weeded out. But at the same time, there's a new version of it. And the new version of it is that I could tell the bulk of the people at this Dave & Buster's were there because they had placed bets on the UFC and college football matches being shown on the screen, and they needed to be somewhere where they could keep their kids occupied while they watched their action unfold. Because we left this place at about 10 p.m., almost 10 p.m., which is like almost 2 a.m. for parents of small children, as some of you listening know. And there was a fucking baby. Somebody was walking around with a baby in a little baby holder on their chest. It was just, as a responsible parent, I was just like, what in God's name gets you to this? Like, how? But there were still children everywhere running around this place looking like their eyes were glazed over and they're just like overstimulated to their core. And I'm pretty sure that's what Dave & Buster's is going for now. I'm pretty sure that's what they're going for, because everybody knows, like, sports betting has been legalized in a bunch of states, and in all the other states where it's not legal, nobody cares. They still do it. Everybody's got a bookie or some offshore website that they use, and I'm pretty sure that's what Dave & Buster's is for now, which is good for me to note for when my kids are older. But for now, I was just disgusted with these people's behavior. We were sitting at a table that was sort of close to the bar, and there was this group of dudes having like a boys' night at the bar, and one of their friends arrived late, and he just walks up and he goes, "This place is ridiculous." And I was like, yes, it's almost the same reaction you have to a Cybertruck. When you walk into a Dave & Buster's, you're just like, should this even exist? Does society need this? But I'm here to tell you it does. In the same way I think it needs the Cybertruck, because somebody's got to push the fucking limits. Somebody's got to push the envelope and make this world an exciting, fun place. And we did have a blast. Undeniably had fun. We were there for a couple hours, maybe 2.5 hours. We played almost every game they had except the virtual reality games. They replaced a lot of the old casino gambling, high-stakes games that I used to love as a child with virtual reality games that require you to wear a virtual reality headset. My wife and I were looking at a couple of the people that were playing this, and some of them were not the kind of people you want to wear a headset after. Sweaty, middle-aged men, and then small, sweaty, disgusting children who have been abandoned by their parents to watch sports that they bet on. So we were like, nah, I don't think we're not going to do the virtual reality. But pretty much everything else, we did it. We did axe throwing. There was an axe throwing game, which is probably Joe Rogan's fault. And it's fine. We had fun doing it. We had fun. We had a blast. I couldn't more highly recommend you do Dave & Buster's for a date night. We had a really good time. And I will be going back. And I do have my power card. the biggest downside of modern day Dave & Buster's is that when you're a kid, or when I was a kid and I got to go with my grandma, first of all, when we got there at 11 a.m., there was tickets hanging out of all the machines, because when they turn the machines on, they spit out a few tickets to make sure that they're working. And we would run around and grab up all those fucking tickets so that we could buy dumb toys with them and bouncy balls and shit. There are no tickets at Dave & Buster's in 2024. It's all digital. It's just points that go onto your card. And that's a good, 75% of the experience gone right there. So a lot has changed, much like a lot has changed in the world. And Dave & Buster's isn't what it used to be. It's still good, but in just different ways, and the degeneracy is being hidden more effectively. It's still mediocre food, not bad. It's pretty much on par with a bar that has good bar food. It's not bad food. My wife tried to have a drink. It was so fucking sugary. She got 3 sips in and had to quit, which was disappointing because, date night. Guys listening know. And I don't drink, so I was just chugging soda. But yeah, we had a good time, and I need to move on because I don't have that much time left, and there's one more thing that I absolutely have to cover today. So as many of you are aware, there is an HOA in my neighborhood that I have been actively rebelling against since the year of our Lord 2022. Homeowners associations are a blight on our nation and should be eradicated from society. That being said, there is an HOA email chain for my neighborhood that everyone is on. I don't know if it's required when you buy a home in the neighborhood, but most of the neighborhood is on this email chain. And there's 300 houses or something in my neighborhood. It's a large neighborhood. It's not 20 houses. It's a bunch of houses. And there's an email chain that's to be used for HOA-relevant conversations, like when a child takes a human shit in the neighborhood pool. But lately, the HOA email chain has been used for much, much less pressing matters, is the only way I know how to put it. It's gotten so out of control that I finally had to chime in. So now I'm going to read you the most recent chain that I woke up to this morning, with the names redacted, of course, for legal reasons. Here is the opening email to this chain. Hey, y'all. Anyone hearing a medium-pitched sound outside? I hear it right now at 1 a.m. It has annoyed me the past few weeks, and I am sure it's been bothering others. If you know the source of this sound, can you please let us know? Kind regards. Here's a response from a neighbor. I thought that noise was something in your backyard. From my house, it sounds like it's coming from between your house and John's. And that email signs off with, sent from a cell phone. Please forgive typos and brevity, as I am only a one-finigered tie-spit, which is supposed to be a joke. Another response from a totally different neighbor that has not yet been a part of the chain. I believe it's coming from the high school. There's a high school near our neighborhood. But yes, I hear it often on blank. It drives me crazy when I'm in the backyard with the kids, but there are days that it's not humming. I haven't gone over to the school to see what's causing it, but I'm fairly confident the source is there. Another new neighbor chimes in. Believe it or not, it could be frogs. Same thing happened to me a few years ago, and I thought someone was working on some machine/tool in their backyard. It was frogs. And then he attached a YouTube video of frogs doing the sound that he believes might be the issue here, the medium-pitched sound outside. So then another new neighbor chimes in. The back of the high school has a semi-trailer packed with noisy AC compressors and fans. I noticed it when I walked the trails, but not sure that is what you are hearing. Regards. And I wake up and I read this and I'm just mildly annoyed, slightly entertained. So I chime in. It could be aliens. Just saying. Something to consider. Thanks, Ross. And I love that sign off. Thanks as an email signature is the most condescending, snooty thing you could possibly. I used to have a buddy in college who ended every email the same way. Thanks, and then his name. And so I stole that and used it here, and it felt good. And guess what? That fucking killed the email chain. Not a single person has responded because they can't tell if I'm kidding or I'm serious about aliens being the potential source of the medium-pitched sound that my clown neighbor is hearing at 1 a.m. and deciding to fire off an email chain in the HOA chain. If you've got a problem with a neighbor that you think, or a problem a neighbor might be able to help you solve, Knock on their door. That's not what this is for. Exchange cell phone numbers and text each other. This is not that. But I killed it. And then my wife got text messages from other neighbors saying, "Tell Ross thank you." So I did a great service today. And I'm proud of that. That'll do it for today's show. I will be back later this week with another ad-free premium episode of RBP available exclusively on patreon.com/Ross Bolin Podcast. If you want to support our show, there are two really main ways to do it, really three. One, tell your friends and family about RBP and the fact that this show exists. Word of mouth is the number one way for a podcast to grow. Two, support our sponsors every week. This week, we have shopify.com/RBP to upgrade your selling today. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/RBP, all lowercase. 3, subscribe on Patreon, Patreon, patreon.com/Ross Bolin Podcast. Right now, when you sign up, you can enjoy a 7-day free trial, and you will access the hundreds of ad-free, premium, exclusive, all-new content episodes that we have put there over the last several years. There's like hundreds of episodes you've never heard if you've never been on Patreon. We've got interviews. We've got special episodes with Jared and his brother Jeff. We had Jared's mom on as an interview once. I've interviewed Cypher PK on there. He's a professional Fortnite player. I've interviewed Armin Kaleshian, who was the photographer at Kendrick Lamar's Pop-Out show and is just a well-renowned celebrity photographer in LA at this point. He's also a listener. We've got some fun interviews, a ton of great content, ad-free, all available exclusively on patreon.com/Ross Bolin Podcast. So support our show in those three ways. We appreciate you. Please and thank you. To check out our other shows, if you're a Formula One fan, the big race this weekend in Las Vegas, Jared J-Bone Borislow will be there in Vegas with Dan the Ad Salesman. And Jared does a show every week, for those of you who are unaware, called Formula Bone, where he gives you a recap of the most recent F1 race, or in the case of this week's episode, a preview of the Las Vegas Grand Prix, a preview of the next race on the calendar. Jared is making the finest American-made, I might add, F1 content on the planet. He's got over 150,000 YouTube subscribers. He's got over 250,000 TikTok followers and a ton of Instagram followers, and he's doing a fantastic job with Formula Bone. Make sure you go support Formula Bone. If you love F1, you will love Formula Bone. If you're a Houston sports fan, check out Banging the Can. That's my Houston sports podcast, where right now every week I basically break down the most recent Texans game and talk about what went right or wrong or both. And if you are watching Dune Prophecy on HBO, the series premiere was this past Sunday. We are covering it episode by episode on Oysters, Clams, and Cockles, which is my show that I host with my dear friend, Mr. Barrett Dudley. We've been doing the show since 2016. It was the first podcast that I started, and we have a blast. And if you're watching any TV show that we cover, tune in to Oysters, Clams, and Cockles, because it will make it twice as fun. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at WR Bolin. Follow RBP on all the social platforms, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. Just search the Ross Bolin Podcast. This episode of RBP is presented by Bolin Media. Video of today's show was produced by Kade Orris. Go to youtube.com/the Ross Bolin Podcast, for that full video. If you're on YouTube and you're watching, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, leave a comment below. Thank you very much. Until next time, remember, you are not alone. Peace be with you, and also with you.